the first time in a couple of weeks I've had both of you here.
Yeah,
last
that's threesome for a little while.
It was many years ago. Well, actually, last year.
Just take a little to warm up, get back into the groove. All right.
Yeah.
Ready to go?
Okay.
So I think the big thing that's been coming. This is a shitty start. Let's start over.
I like it.
Do you do?
Okay.
All right.
No,
We're
it's fine.
keeping it then.
1, 2, 3, go.
So go now.
Now
It's just getting worse. All right.
Yeah, it's good though. This is
Layoffs.
We're getting it out now.
Let's talk about layoffs. Layoffs have been
You
bad.
want to talk about layoffs?
Tech layoffs?
Wow.
Amazon just I think reported their second round coming up, right? Of 17,000, I think. I read right.
It's the same one as before. They've just added another 8,000 people. They were doing 10K, but
it's the same as before. Yeah, Amazon, Salesforce just dropped 11,000.
Right.
Twitter had huge layoffs.
Salesforce. Yeah.
I don't know if there's a tech company that didn't have huge layoffs.
I checked my favorite site, layoffs.fyi, and it had on there, it's like a table of all the recent layoffs. And it had a really interesting one on there, but I couldn't find any more details about it, which is ByteDance are laying off 10% of their workforce.
Whoa.
Which for like ByteDance, where they don't have, automated testing. They just have massive QA teams.
Sure.
So,
I thought ByteDance was
a lot of people.
I thought ByteDance was the Chinese company and TikTok was the American company.
No,
does ByteDance have American employees?
ByteDance
TikTok is the product.
ByteDance is the Chinese company,
but they're laying off U.S. workers in the U.S.
No, it's just 10%.
Oh, Mike, are we only reporting on America? Is that the rest of the world?
I mean, come on, Mike. Mike, you and your U.S.
tech is in Silicon Valley.
Really?
Oh, isn't it? Right. Well, I thought it was also in.
I'd be willing to include Europe, but China, come on.
Wow.
So the ByteDance thing, it's
I thought we were at war with China financially.
In October.
We are at war with how many?
We're going to lay you off in a minute, Mike. Come on.
How many employees does ByteDance have or had?
It doesn't say, but it says that employees with low performance received individual discussion notices from the human resource department. So basically, if you're not performing, you're fired.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's do our intro, and then we'll talk about.
ByteDance has greatly expanded its personnel with more than 100,000 people at its peak. Sorry, there we go.
Oh, okay, that's a lot.
Good. All right, so we'll talk about where all these people are going on today's Not So Critical update.
Nice. That was really good. You did really great,
guys.
Mike. That was super smooth. I really liked how you cut us off and then just
Podcast
to continue.
You guys are impossible. Anyway, let's just have monkeys do the show.
Yeah,
we should get like an AI ChatGPT or something
to just dictate for us what we should say.
Right,
we
fine,
should just
go.
read off a script. Okay, so ChatGPT says.
That's not.
Okay. Sorry.
This is the last time I am warning you. I will turn this podcast around.
No! Look what you've done now. Look, we've angered Podcast Dad, also known as Pod Dad. So what's going on here, Mike? What is this? I feel like I have things to say about this article.
But you need me to explain it to you first?
Yeah,
because you clearly read it. So basically, the bottom line of the article is that all these tech workers are getting laid off from Silicon Valley, which is creating an opportunity that seems to be coming to fruition for them to go to employers in other industries that haven't historically been big employers of tech labor. Yeah. So they're moving into pharmaceuticals, banking, retail, healthcare. And so this, I guess on one hand, it would be good because we're bringing more technology to those industries. On the other hand, it's probably going to bring labor rates for those careers down because they're not going to be getting those fat Silicon Valley wages anymore.
Well, Peter, you look like you're itching. Go ahead.
I was going to say I saw this happen in a micro version in Malta. So as I've said before, Malta, when it joined the EU, they regulated online gambling. So it was suddenly possible in Europe to have a license to operate a casino online. And because it's a tiny country, they didn't have the workforce to, as part of the license, you had to have infrastructure there and have your staff there. So it created this tech industry overnight. And all these casinos with billions of euros started hiring tech people very quickly. And loads of people went over there because you could have a good standard of living. And loads of people work in the gambling industry. But what happened as a knock-on effect was that they created a tech industry where other companies went there to take advantage of the pool of talent that now existed in Malta and started offering competitive rates. It's sort of balanced out a bit now because a lot online gambling has moved away from the country to some extent. But it was really interesting to see that happen over the course of like a decade. It was really quick. But
what that did to the cost of living in Malta.
Oh, I mean, that's another whole story. I don't really want to get into that side of things. But
no need to. But I imagine it didn't do.
It was not good for the locals, really.
But regarding, so I feel like this article is a bit, I don't know if sensational is the right word, but like this has just been happening, right? Tech has been going through, how many bubbles has tech has since, tech got labeled tech?
At this scale right now, though? Has anything this big happened since the kind of tech
Y2K
bubble burst, as they say in Y2K? Yeah.
I guess, but I feel like there's been
layoffs lately.
Sure, that's fair. So I guess that's true. But what I wanted to get to is that just one thing. Sorry, Peter.
Yeah.
I just want to get this out. Let me just burp this out. Is that it's like anytime a medium to small sized company that is a startup or a tech company fails, like a lot of those guys either go to other tech companies or they go to a different industry. It's not like the tech shortage or the digital worker shortage vanished. Like the shortage is still here. And I
mean, yeah, kind of, but these excesses were hiring at these companies built up over time. They weren't scavenging tech from other industries. Now this huge surplus is just being flooded out into the market.
I guess that's true.
So I don't think it's a surplus. I've read and I believe that for every person that's laid off, there's 2 job openings out there. I think one of the things is that there's so companies like Google and Facebook definitely hoarded talent, and they were known for offering high salaries because they wanted to get the best and then keep them there so that their rivals couldn't buy them. And I think that is being released into the talent pool.
And that's not a bad thing. Like these people might team together, they might group together and start new ventures, or they'll go to new ventures that are already occurring, or
cycle of life.
Yeah. It's obviously super unfortunate for people who are getting laid off. Like what a terrifying thing. But I think that in terms of like they're flooding these new markets or these existing markets, I guess I should say, like I really cannot imagine that putting a Band-Aid over a floodgate that's like burst, them being the Band-Aid, the floodgate being the job demand, like it's not really going to make a huge dent, I don't think. We're still last time this statistic last time I read it was 2 years ago, I think. That is that there's still 8 jobs for every cybersecurity professional. Like we are so shorthanded, and most cybersecurity professionals are just programmers or IT guys. Like it's not like they're magic or special.
We talked about that before, though. The issue with cybersecurity.
Hey, no. Fuck you, I'm magic.
That they want
and
what?
Special. I said, "Fuck you! I'm magic and special."
Okay.
What do you mean?
All right, Peter.
Because he's that Peter Lowe.
Sorry. Yeah.
Which we've been having extended discussion on our Discord server lately. You should check that out. It's a lot of fun.
Jesus. Yeah.
So there are eight openings for every engineer. What we talked about in the past is that's true, but they're at a very high level. It's not like 95% of the engineers on the market are eligible for those positions.
I wouldn't say very high level. I would not say very high level. But we should also talk about the fact that it's not mostly engineers who are getting let go, right? a big part, if not like majority, I think, is marketing and recruitment, right?
Yeah, that's probably true.
Actually.
So that's a big problem, because I don't know how saturated those markets are, but I can't imagine they're great. Like, I feel like marketing is probably not that, or it is very competitive for the employees, for the applicants. So, Mike, you could probably speak on this. Like, I imagine you've seen hiring for marketing.
You are a marketing droid yourself. That's correct.
Yeah, there definitely are openings out there. I think to the idea that there are 2 openings for every person who's laid off, probably that's true too. But are they positions that those people want?
Get or want?
If the two open positions are outside of my industry or at a quarter of the pay that I was receiving before, or in a geographic location I don't have access to, then that's true, but doesn't really help me.
Does it apply to you?
I've definitely seen that happen in real life to myself. Like, I remember when I first became a programmer, it was so easy to get a job, and there would be like 5. I would always be in a position of like evaluating 5 different offers, and who do I want to go with, and that's just like as a PHP developer in 2010 kind of thing. And then at one point later, it was like, wow, I don't think I could find another job right now if I tried it, without like, I don't know, lowering my standards or something like that, which were artificially high, like they had been pushed up there because it was so easy before. But yeah,
I mean, just think about how much the job market has changed from 3 months ago.
Yeah,
that's very true. It's kind of scary seeing some friends who are, they're part of this, they're affected by this, and like they are not finding good stuff. Like, it's a very scary situation to find yourself in. But if you're fortunate enough to be in the tech industry as an individual contributor in engineering of any sort, luckily there is a demand still. It's not like every business comically closed their doors and said not hiring at the same time. There's work out there, but you just have to really be persistent, I think.
One of the things I always found was that there's work out there for skilled people, for people who are good at what they do. And there's always been more openings than people for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's generally been way more like, entry-level people on the market. Well, obviously. So when this kind of thing happens, when the kind of shift happens, it becomes harder for them. But for the more skilled jobs, it's hard to find the people. So from the other side, from the hiring side, it's still difficult to find people to fill those jobs.
So there's still a chance I could find my dream job.
Yeah, I think that you mean. Okay, yeah, for sure.
All right, I'll keep looking. So we're at about 13 minutes now, but we spent the first like 4 or 5 minutes trying to figure out what day it was.
Please cut some of that shit.
So let's just call this 6 minutes and we'll wrap it up early, I guess.
It's a New Year's.
See everyone tomorrow.
Miracle. Bye.